Welcome to American Education FM, everybody. I'm Dr. Sean Brooks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The riots in LA and spreading out to other cities, apparently, such as Chicago, Denver, and perhaps Salt Lake City here in the near future, are certainly getting interesting. But the action and the justice here is rather swift. And the job is getting done, which is excellent, as far as rounding up all of these illegals, and at the exact same time, the individuals obstructing justice, by and large, are being caught and also being detained and arrested. Here's a particular post on X from Pete Hegseth. He said the following: "The violent mob assaults on ICE and federal law enforcement are designed to prevent the removal of criminal illegal aliens from our soil, a dangerous invasion facilitated by criminal cartels, aka foreign terrorist organizations, and a huge national security risk." He went on, and then someone responded, "At Grok, can active duty Marines be deployed on U.S. soil to quell civil unrest in California?" And then, of course, X's AI system Grok said the following: "Active duty Marines can be deployed on U.S. soil to address civil unrest in California under the Insurrection Act of 1807. Bingo. Which allows the president to use the federal troops to suppress insurrection or domestic violence when local authorities fail. Again, we had suspicions, and there was certainly ample evidence that the Insurrection Act was signed before Trump left office in 2021, on January 6th, which means the entire Biden administration, again, was acting illegally, of which, again, we fully understand this. And then at the exact same time, during his first administration, and then carried through Biden's administration, the fake administration, of course, but even so, the National Guard was federalized by Donald Trump. So he can override anything that any local politician, certainly a state governor, wants to do regarding the National Guard. They act at the discretion and at the direction of the head of the executive branch, the President of the United States. So again, I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. And if there's any pushback, again, the response will be swift. And that specifically, again, dates back to Q-drops. For example, Q-drop 22 said, "Who controls the National Guard?" This was on November 1st of 2017. Who controls the National Guard? Why was the National Guard recently activated in select cities within the United States? Can the National Guard work in coordination with the Marines? Do conditions need to be satisfied to authorize? Yes. The Insurrection Act, of course. It goes on, it says, "What former president used the military to save the republic, and what occurred exactly?" Biggest drop to ever be provided on poll. "Study and prepare. The masses tend to panic in such situations. No war, no civil unrest. Clean and swift." Unquote. Again, we were told what was going to happen, and we are seeing it happen. Here's another one. Again, Post 34, November 1st, 2017. Q Clearance Patriot. It says, "My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11/4. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessary." It says, "Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We will be initiating the emergency broadcast system during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad," unquote. Then, of course, you have all of the military equipment entering Washington, D.C. for the anniversary of the military, and then, of course, Flag Day and the parade that will ensue as a result of that. And yeah, this is going to get interesting. You talk about individuals, again, attempting to assault military vehicles with, again, protesters or throwing rocks or bricks or what have you. This is likely to get real interesting. And then, of course, you add in the element of false flags and false flag attacks and some tranny parade taking place, and then somebody gets shot, and then everybody starts to blame individuals on the so-called right and say, well, it's their hatred that caused this, and that's why someone innocent got killed. Again, these people are so predictable, they'll kill their own just to make a point. And then, of course, as everybody knows, they'll weaponize the media to believe a particular story. The story will already be pre-scripted. They'll toss it out to the media will run with it, people will believe it, and then they'll say, I told you so. All those MAGA people or all those right-wingers or whatever, all these bigots, they're just out there trying to hurt people and kill people. I'm telling you, they'll do it themselves. They'll just do it themselves. They'll hire a criminal to shoot into a crowd. They'll let the criminal run away. If somebody gets hit, who cares? It's no sweat off their back. Or, of course, they take this angle where they just have a giant police presence and then no actual crime took place, no violent action took place, but the police presence will tell everybody that some violent action took place and they're investigating, and they'll have the cameras on them, of course, and they'll just say, we've got it under control, it's under investigation, we have someone in custody, or we're looking for other people. Meanwhile, they're just lying to everybody. And they're just, again, creating all this faux outrage over something that was completely scripted that never even happened. I mean, the season for manipulating people is year-round. There's no specified time during the season when people can be, again, mass manipulated with any kind of a false flag. It happens all of the time. The sad part is in society, human beings do not know this. They don't know that they're being lied to. They actually believe that if something, of course, occurs on their television, then it must be real. And, of course, if it's repeated numerous times across numerous media outlets, how on earth could all of those media outlets be wrong? Why would they all be lying? That's impossible. No, it's very real. Happens constantly. Again, I haven't commented on the whole Trump-Elon, back and forth so-called pseudo-fight thing. I think all of that's just a giant show. It's just a giant distraction. And frankly, I don't even care because I don't even think it's real. I think it's proving again that all they have to do, again, just like in professional wrestling, all they have to do is write a script down as to who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. They switch the roles from time to time. Someone becomes the heel as opposed to the hero, and then back and forth. And then before you know it, the entire media is running with it like it's interesting. Or, oh, look, MAGA is divided, or the people on the right who support Trump are now divided. No, I don't think any of it's real. I think it's all staged, and I think they're proving, again, to the knowledgeable American people how easy it is to manipulate the media. And they can do it, again, with just a couple of tweets, and then before you know it, that's it. They run with it. Again, look at the tweets that get sent out by endless individuals that the media never covers. And then, again, a simple tweet from either Elon Musk or Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden the media goes crazy. That just proves it. It proves, again, that they are interested in sensationalism. They're interested in the pomp and circumstance, the bright lights, the flashy things, the moving objects, all of that stuff. Because they know, of course, like the CIA does, that, again, manipulates human beings. And they easily grab onto it and say, hey, have you seen this? Did you hear about this? It's just, it can't be believed. So I don't put a lot of energy into that particular kind of, wavelength of news, so to speak, quote unquote, because it's not really news. It's just mass manipulation. It's social engineering. It's designed, again, to get people emotional over something and create division, not knowing that it's faux division. So that's my take on it. I could be wrong, but hey, there you go. Here's another one. This is kind of interesting. This is from responsiblestatecraft.org. And there have been a number of firings in Trump's administration, specifically when it comes to individuals who are hawkish on going after Iran. We know Trump wants a deal with Iran. He probably already has one. But they're stringing these people along again to filter out all of these war hawks and all of these individuals who are not interested in peace. And of course, all of these individuals who are pro-Israel all of the time, no matter what. And then, of course, endless other individuals within his own administration who probably have, I don't know, a particular blackmail card being pulled, or they have outside interests that are trying to influence them or are influencing them, again, to try to have influence with Donald Trump and the people around him. But this article, again, was on June 5th, and it was titled "Another One Bites the Dust: Iran Hawks Disappearing from Administration." It says Lebanon envoy Morgan Ortagus and a slew of national security officials are being replaced in Trump White House. Again, this is on June 5th. It says word is that Israel is getting a bit nervous as one after the other, Iran war hawks, or Iran hawks as they call them, are being shuffled out of key foreign policy and national security positions in the White House. Meanwhile, America First realists continue to be in ascent. It says, according to news in the last 24 hours, Eric Traeger, who was heading the Middle East and North Africa portfolios of the National Security Council, has been removed from his position. Traeger, who is the former Esther K. Wagner Fellow at the pro-Israel Washington Institute for Near East Policy, is considered an Iran hawk and was appointed to the post by Mike Waltz. It says Morgan Ortagus, considered one of the strongest pro-Israel supporters in the administration, quote-unquote, was also shuffled out of her role as the Lebanon envoy under Steve Witkoff. Her removal from the position, which had been hinted in recent days, stunned officials in Jerusalem, where she is viewed as closely aligned with Israel interests, unquote, according to Ynet News. Her Lebanon trip this week was reportedly canceled, and she would have no further role on Witkoff's team, it said. It goes on, it says, news of the purge began last week when it was also announced that a number of NSC officials were being let go by acting National Security Advisor Marco Rubio in a broader effort to drastically slim down what the administration sees as a bloated and inefficient agency. It says most of the targets were not identified at the time, but we now know they include dual U.S.-Israeli citizen Merav Saran, who was also working the Iran and Israeli desk and had previously worked with the Israeli government. Yep, that seems like a conflict of interest. Time to get rid of them, and so they're gone. It says observers point out that all of these changes are coming amid stepped-up Trump Middle East policy, where he is at once trying to get a nuclear deal hammered out with Iran, withdraw troops from a new Syria, and make deals with partners in the Gulf. His frustration with Benjamin Netanyahu over Gaza and his insistence on a military approach to Iran has spilled over into the press in recent weeks. His firing of Waltz in early May was reportedly in part because Waltz had been talking about war plans with Netanyahu behind Trump's back. Who didn't see that coming? It goes on, it says, quote, Trump's foreign policy team is undergoing a course correction in keeping with his own pivot, unquote. Marwa Mizad, a professor of Israeli politics at the University of Maryland, told Middle East Eye. Meanwhile, the realists seem to be gaining more traction in the Trump orbit. Justin Overbaugh, nominee for the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, is expected to be confirmed by the Senate after little resistance from key committees in Congress. A retired Army colonel with service in both the Iran and Afghanistan wars, Overbaugh is a former Defense Priorities Fellow, unquote. Again, peace is the plan here. It has to be. He's the only president who's consistently been talking about it, and I just don't think he's lying. I really don't think he's lying. As I've said before in previous episodes, I'm not carrying water for Trump on every single issue, but I also know that we all don't know all of the inner workings of every single issue. Again, I don't like the Palantir angle. I don't like the surveillance state, but like I've said before, what if that's been flipped on its head? What if it's being used again for national security? What if it's being used again to actually find bad guys in our own country, as opposed to again being weaponized by our own government or the Israeli government to engage in pre-crime? I have no doubt that that's probably its original intent. Throw people in jail for believing that they're anti-Semites before they even say or do anything, and if they do say or do something, or in particular say something online, well, we should just arrest them anyway because we can assume that they're going to engage in a crime in the future. It's completely absurd. And it's completely unconstitutional as well. Now, I understand, again, endless entities, and certainly a lot of these businesses don't care about the Constitution. There's ample evidence that that's the case. But peace is the plan here. And you have to admit it. Again, to some extent, you have to admit it. There's never been a president who's talked about world peace quite like this one has. That's interesting. Again, not saying every single move is solid. I don't know what's going on, and we don't. It's just like when any media outlet corners Donald Trump, or attempts to corner him, I should say, and says, well, this is happening and this is happening, and he just looks at him straight in the face and he says, how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know what's going on? How do you have it all figured out? How do you know we haven't done this? How do you know we haven't done that? And then, of course, the media person backs off and says, well, I don't know. Go ahead and tell me. See, they make an assertion like they have it all figured out, when in fact they don't. I fully understand I don't have it all figured out either. But it certainly is interesting. And behaviors are something that you can, of course, see in action. And when individuals, again, sound like they're getting aggressive, well, maybe they're doing that on purpose to trick people. Not just trick us per se, but maybe trick the enemy. Again, it's the art of war. Make yourself look strong when you are weak, and make yourself look weak when you are strong. Misleading your enemy is a part of the plan also. And not divulging exactly what you're going to do when you're going to do it is also a part of that plan. So let's keep paying attention to this riot stuff. Let's keep paying attention again to these politicians who are screaming at the top of their lungs, because again, these people give themselves away as having plenty to hide. The louder they scream, the more they have to hide. As a matter of fact, that kind of slides me right into education here. I have a piece of audio that I want to play. Came across this on YouTube, rather interesting. Again, it's a superintendent losing their minds over a reporter. And this is out of Wisconsin. Their TMJ4 news channel, it says, is taking legal action after the St. Francis School District Superintendent, Deborah Kerr, prevented TMJ4 from filming a public school board meeting Monday evening. This would have been last Monday. So this violates, of course, endless open records violations, public records violations, attending public meetings, which, again, the superintendent says that it is, but tells this reporter she's not allowed to attend, she's not allowed to record. She's warned her before. She says, we've never done anything wrong in the past. I don't know what this is all about. And the superintendent flips out and then kicks her out of the building and walks away and goes back to their meeting. Again, any single time that anybody, doesn't matter who they are, could be a politician, could be anybody in the workplace, doesn't matter. If they behave just like you're going to hear the superintendent behave, they have copious amounts of things to hide. Money, pedophilia, breaking policy, codes of conduct, the law, you name it. They always have more to hide. So give this a listen in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. You are not allowed to come to our meetings because you did not give us any notice or tell us why you were here. I just talked to my attorney, Rob Bukema, and we are happy to give you any public comment that we get today. It's an open board meeting, like you said. It's open board meeting, but you're not filming. So we're
Can I see your?
I'm going to ask you to leave now, and if you don't leave, I've already told you, I will call the police.
No,
but you need
can
to
you
leave.
please work with me? You came in.
No, because I have never had the unprofessional courtesy by a reporter.
What are you talking about? People,
Just
I go to board
showing
meetings
up.
every single
No,
week.
I know all of you well.
I go to board meeting. I go to the Milwaukee Public
Well,
School
good.
board meetings like
Go.
once a week. We don't give notice to anyone.
You know what? We expect notice. And
Where does it say that? I need to see where it says that.
I don't have to give you that right
Well,
now. My
if you
attorney.
don't give it to me, There's state laws,
attorney-
you could be breaking the law right
Okay,
now.
well, and you did not have the professional courtesy to let me know why you were coming
I
here.
don't do that.
And we don't film our board meetings, period. We don't. We have on a Zoom meeting.
Would you like to speak with my managers?
No, I'm not. I have a board meeting to attend to. I'm dealing with some other things right now.
Okay, but I need
So-
to know where in your, like,
Look on the bylaws. Yeah, look
that it
in
says
the
this.
policies.
Because are you just saying this?
No, I just called my attorney. You said you were going to call yours. I called mine.
Yeah, and they said that you're
Okay.
violating open meeting
No,
laws.
no, we're not. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say that I'm violating them, but you are not filling our meeting tonight. My board is not prepared for that. We've had no other people coming to complain
Ma'am.
about things,
We
so,
go to school meetings all the time and we've never had issues.
well, unfortunately, you haven't been to one of ours because I haven't seen you in 5 years.
I mean, I started working
Sorry.
here 2 years ago.
So,
Um,
okay, sorry, I gotta go because we're conducting business.
Okay, well,
Sorry, I can't help you this time.
I think you're violating open meeting laws, so.
Okay.
Again, you can point out all of the suspicious activity in that small exchange. The superintendent immediately throws out her lawyer's card. Here's our lawyer, as if to say a school district's lawyer has it all figured out. Well, they clearly don't. School district lawyers are hired specifically to do a job, and they get paid a decent amount of money to do that job. That job involves protecting the school board and the superintendent, by and large, regardless, again, if they're in the wrong or not. And then, just like HR directors, of course, are hired to implement a particular job which involves protecting the employers, not the employees. The entire system, the entire administrative system in school districts is designed to protect those who do the hiring and those who do the voting. It's not there to protect teachers, it's not there to protect parents, and it's not there to protect minors. That's not their job. So that's kind of number one. Again, the initial, well, here's our lawyer and here's what they said. You can't have two separate legal teams looking at the same issue and have them both be right. Someone's wrong. Certainly when they're opposing viewpoints. And yeah, open records and, of course, open meetings, requests, and just, again, the ability to attend an open public meeting that, of course, is funded by taxpayers. Anybody can do that, in particular, if a law hasn't been broken. But you also, again, as you heard her say, well, we've never been contacted before, and you didn't tell us you were coming, and all this other stuff. First of all, it's rather suspicious that the school district isn't taping their meetings to begin with. We don't tape our meetings. What do you mean you don't tape your meetings? What are you hiding? Why don't you put them on YouTube, on video, for people to see and people to watch and people to hear? What are you hiding? Every move that they make is suspicious. Whether, again, they keep particular policies in place or they don't. But not videoing a board meeting is highly suspicious. Confronting a reporter who showed up uninvited to watch, listen, and record the meeting, which they have the right to do, is also highly suspicious. And then when confronted with, well, actually, as it turns out, you're the one who's breaking the law because we go to meetings all the time in other districts, and then she simply says, well, go there then. Go there. We've never had this happen to us. I mean, she's flipping out. She's losing it because they're hiding things. Businesses like this hate when people start to ask questions. They hate it. And the only people who hate to have questions asked about them are people who don't do their jobs, people who are breaking the law, who have plenty to hide. This is such common sense, it's astounding. The problem is that you cannot change the minds of these evil people that run these districts. You'll never be able to change them. They'll talk out of both sides of their mouths, and they don't even know that the very things that they are doing implicate themselves in serious illegality. Let me give you another example. Again, I brought this up last week. The Champlain Park, Minnesota girls softball team. Well, they ended up winning their, whatever it is, Class 4A softball state champions or championship rather, for 2025. And this is the team with the guy pitcher on it. And the guy threw whatever it was, pitched in 5 straight games, pitched 5 straight shutouts, so it's a guy playing against girls. And everybody's cheating. Everybody. The other members of that team are cheating. The opponents are cheating. The referees are cheating. The parents are cheating. Everybody is cheating, and everybody's allowing it to happen. Now, of course, this has been going on in the WNBA for a very long time. Brittany Griner is a man, and no one seems to care. I think his name is Brad. Either way, again, this is right in front of everybody's face. Michelle Obama is a dude. People know this. Everybody knows this. Not everybody, but a lot of people know this. Again, it's the normalization of insanity. And part of that, of course, involves the normalization of lying and cheating and stealing, and that somehow being okay. That we have to make excuses for the mentally ill. But this is the dividing line here. Not only did that happen, of course, but people like Riley Gaines, for example, took to Twitter and said, well, isn't this funny, basically, that the entire Minnesota State High School League X account has their comments turned off. They have their comments turned off, of course, because they're getting scorched online for being cheaters. And this is what these people are going to be known for the rest of their lives. I mean, this, again, they don't know this, and it's not good. It's embarrassing. Of course, Riley Gaines has been advocating, of course, for pretend girls, real boys, to not play in girls' sports, and rightfully so. But again, you'd then have Simone Biles, a former gymnast, U.S. gymnast, or current U.S. gymnast, again coming to the support of this girls' team with the one dude who's playing on it, and basically making fun of Riley Gaines and saying, you're truly sick, all of this campaigning because you lost a race. Well, Riley Gaines lost to a dude. And then Simone Biles says, straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. And then they went on and whatever else. Maybe you should bully someone your own size, which would ironically be male, at Riley Gaines. Well, yeah. Riley Gaines said, look, I'm 5'5". I'm not large by any stretch of the imagination. And of course, the Thomas dude was over 6 feet tall and was a man, is a man. But this, again, is the problem. It's mental illness. Absolute mental illness. So, again, if the shoe were on the other foot and Simone Biles were engaging in a gymnastics competition against a guy, she'd flip out. She'd lose her mind. This isn't allowed to happen. They're not allowed to compete against me. I'm supposed to only compete against girls. See, the moment you put it back in their court, so to speak, or on their side of the so-called playing field, they'll flip out. Again, the dude should have been playing baseball, not girls' softball. This is beyond obvious. It's such an old story, too. I mean, this kind of thing. This has been going on for far too long, longer than 5 years. I mean, this has been going on, actually, for, I would say, at least a decade and a half, if not 2 decades now. It's complete and utter insanity, and it has to stop. But all of the individuals, again, participating in this are showing you their true colors. All you have to do is give them an inch, and they will show you everything that they have to offer, which is absolutely nothing. No morals, no values, no character. They're all just cheaters, and they're okay with it. I mean, you're also, it's funny, sad, but you're also witnessing the complete destruction of the home and actual tutelage that is supposed to be happening inside of the home on a moral standpoint. Again, the number of parents who go home, game in and game out, with their child playing with or against that dude on that high school softball team, they're showing their character to everybody also, that they have absolutely none. I mean, the circus is in town in the minds of these people all of the time. I'm going to stop ranting about it, but you get what I'm saying. These people are nuts. We have to bring back mental institutions, I'm telling you. We really have to. Here's another one from the Gateway Pundit. It says, not smart, Indiana teacher resigns after wearing 8647 t-shirt on school trip to Washington, D.C. Now, of course, I made a clever little comment online where she's taking a picture next to a gal who also just so happens to be wearing a rainbow shirt that says "Be kind." Now, if she's a teacher, she should be fired too. I mean, come on. These people don't know all of the definitions of the entire gay flag. They have absolutely no idea. Which reminds me, I've never done this on the show, might as well do it now. Let me run through some of these flags. There's a bunch of them, by the way. It's approximately these whack jobs have like 40 or 50 flags. I'm not kidding. There's the traditional gay pride flag, the basic rainbow flag that most of us already know, unfortunately. There's the Progress Pride flag. This is the one that is the traditional gay pride flag, the rainbow, but it has the triangles that shoot out from the left-hand side, which are black, brown, blue, pink, and white. So that's dumb because, again, it has to do with basically boy lover stuff. There's the Philadelphia Pride flag, which simply has a brown and black line in it. There's the Gilbert Baker Pride flag, which has a pink line in it. No one cares. I know. Just bear with me. I just want to prove to you how crazy these flags are. There's the Straight Ally Pride flag, which is a black and white striped flag with a upside-down letter V in basically what looks like, again, the colors of the traditional gay pride rainbow flag. There's the Intersex Inclusive Pride flag. This looks like the Progress Pride flag, except it has a yellow triangle inside of the triangles with a circle. These people are nuts. They're just nuts. They never got over coloring in kindergarten, apparently. There's the U.S. Pride flag, which has the 50 stars inside, embedded within the rainbow flag. Trust me, it's making me sick already. The Victory Over AIDS Pride flag. It's basically what looks like the Philadelphia Pride flag, just upside down. People are so dumb. There's a Two-Spirit Pride flag. That's right. It's the traditional gay pride flag with 2 Indian feathers in the middle of it. There's the Social Justice Pride flag, has another triangle. Let me just read off the names instead of describing what the flags actually look like. Lesbian Pride flag, Gay Pride flag, Transgender Pride flag, Demi-Boy Pride flag, Demi-Girl Pride flag, Gender Fluid Pride flag. Let's see, LeBry's Lesbian Pride flag. It has an axe in the middle of it. Are you going to kill each other? I mean, we know that lesbians are more violent toward one another in relationships, especially when they're so-called married. Let's see, there's the Gray Sexual Pride flag, the Intersex Pride flag, the Pangender Pride flag, the Trigender Pride flag, the Androgen Pride flag, the Bisexual Pride flag, Pansexual, Aromantic Pride flag, Genderqueer, Non-Binary, Polysexual, Bigender, Demisexual, Agender. How in the hell do you say that? Maverickue? I don't know. Stupid. Butch Lesbian Pride flag. There you go. Why not? Omnisexual Pride flag. Gender Fluid. Demigender. Abrosexual. Let's see. Ace. Pride flag. Polygender. Let's see. Demiromantic Pride flag. Someone explain that one to me. Polyamory Pride flag with the pi symbol in the middle because they're running out of things to do apparently. Asexual Pride flag. The Hijura Pride flag. I don't know if that's correct. Don't care. The Leather Pride flag. And then the Twink Pride flag. The Neurotosis Pride flag. The Scolosexual Pride flag, which has a big red or yellow heart, pink heart in the middle. The Heterosexual Pride flag. Weird. It's just shades of black, gray, and white. The Androsexual Pride flag, and last but not least, the Lithromantic Pride flag. Now I have to go take a shower. These people belong in a mental institution. It's that simple. I don't know what else to say. No one has 50 flags like that. Nobody. It's nuts. Talk about confusion. Anyway, back to this Indiana teacher. They, of course, were forced to resign. Indiana teacher resigns in disgrace over dangerous t-shirt she wore to White House on class trip. Indiana teacher is under fire after she wore a t-shirt calling for Donald Trump's assassination on a school trip to the White House. Tanya Lukin posted a now-deleted Facebook photo of her and a colleague smiling in front of the Washington, D.C. landmark while on a trip with Middlebury Community Schools. It says, at first glance, the photo was seemingly innocent. However, eagle-eyed social media stalkers noticed the number 8647 printed on Lucan's, flowery blue t-shirt. In a statement, Middlebury Community Schools publicly condemned Lucan's decision to openly express her political affiliation at a school event. Quote, Middlebury Community Schools owns policies that require teachers to refrain from using their position to promote partisan political views. This prohibition applies to all teachers regardless of their political leanings and to every political message regardless of its content they wrote. Again, Gateway Pundit asked the question, how stupid would a person have to be to think this was acceptable for a school trip, no less? Well, the fact is they're not thinking people. We're talking about some of the lowest IQ humans on the face of the planet, so it shouldn't shock anybody. It's par for the course for these whack jobs. It really is. And this right here is exactly how they get caught, by the way. It's not just individuals on the internet trying to hold people accountable, because we, of course, know that school districts won't do that on their own. They need public pressure in order to hold people accountable. And again, if the law has to get involved or lawyers have to get involved, then so be it. But that's exactly what happened in this case, too. This was, again, from Gateway Pundit. North Carolina School District forced to apologize and pay $20,000 to a student who was suspended for saying illegal alien, quote unquote, in a particular school assignment. It says the family of a North Carolina high school student suspended for using the term illegal alien, and he's slated to receive $20,000 payment and a public apology under a proposed settlement, according to the New York Post. The outlet reported Thursday that the settlement was reached to remove all references to racial bias from now 17-year-old Christian McGee's record, provide compensation, and issue a public apology for the mischaracterization of racial bias. The proposed settlement provides CM with monetary compensation intended to defray the cost of his new school, which is private and changes annual tuition, according to the document. That's hilarious. So his public school has to pay his private school tuition. I love that. Talk about twisting the knife. That's great. It says the teen received a 3-day suspension last year after asking his teacher if a conversation in class was centered around spaceship aliens or illegal aliens who need green cards, after he returned to the classroom from the restroom. A Latino student present in the class reportedly joked that he was going to, quote, kick Christian's ass, leading the teacher to escalate the situation to the assistant principal. It's funny. These places are mental institutions, and the people who work within they've lost their minds. It's not all of them, clearly. But you can't have this kind of division within that kind of a working environment where some people have common sense and others have none and expect production to actually take place. It's just not going to happen. But again, this is where people have to be held accountable, regardless of the working environment. Which leads me now to this, and I have permission to discuss this and permission to even read some of this, and I'm going to. Kim Carter, of course, friend of mine, friend of the show, nurse friend. As you may recall, a year or so ago, if not a little longer than that, she recorded herself meeting with Select Medical's CEO or CFO, whichever it is, and HR director as well. So it was basically I believe two and then three individuals all in the same room at the same time. And I played that audio both on the show, and I played it in a Substack article as well. Point being, that particular article came the day that she was let go. She has since sued all of these individuals, and Select Medical in particular, and she has another recording. Now, I'm not going to play that recording yet, even though I have permission to do so, but the reason I'm not going to is because it's not that it's hard to hear, there's just a lot of background noise, because she was, again, recording this internally, so she had her microphone inside of her shirt. So every single time that she would move, you would hear the ruffling of her shirt on the microphone. But you can make out the voices pretty darn clear. The casual nature in which this particular meeting took place initially, but more importantly, Kim's concerns about not just the COVID shots, but the flu shots. And in particular, I should say this had more to do with that particular moment in time. Again, we're talking about just over a year ago, if not 2 years now, where she was cut loose. And she was cut loose because, of course, whistleblower retaliation and religious exemptions. And of course, she's following her oath. This had to do with the entire hubbub of making sure that individuals get COVID and flu shots at the same time. And what she was doing in this meeting, where she initially came out and she was very upset. I mean, you can hear her physically upset and crying, even hysterically at some points, where she's describing to these administrators, she's saying, you don't know what you're doing. It's actual FDA and CDC advice and informed consent that giving both of these shots at the same time could kill these people, that it will dramatically increase their chances of heart failure and heart trouble, if not strokes and endless other issues and conditions, which of course we all know, including of course cancers and endless other things. The sad part is that in her position again as a nurse and a floor manager, I believe that was her title, these individuals did not take her seriously in the slightest, and the casual nature in which they talked to her clearly shows total brainwashing on their part. Because after Kim is explaining this to them and saying, you don't know what you're doing to these people, you don't know how you're harming these people, not to mention those individuals were taking all of the shots also. They weren't taking any religious exemptions as administrators. They were flat out injecting themselves constantly. Those very individuals, again, if they're still alive, those individuals were putting themselves in harm's way too. And that's exactly what Kim was trying to warn them about. That the patients themselves, all the recipients of those shots, were not receiving informed consent by any stretch of the imagination. Certainly not being told you could die. So here's the latest update regarding this. Again, Kim Carter has at least 2 recordings, audio recordings, that are very, very damning. Again, you can go back and listen to the one where, again, she got fired on that particular day and was let go. Give me your badge, give me your keys, give me your passes, and blah, 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 and then we will escort you out of the building. There's that one. But then again, there's this 30-minute one where she's warning them the day before. And she's saying, look, I'm not going to wear a mask on the floor because you're telling everybody, wear a mask or take a flu shot. And she said, I'm not going to take a flu shot. I'm done taking shots. And I'm not going to take the COVID shot either because I'm not going to get sick. And then if you recall, it was in her firing meeting, in that firing audio where she was telling these administrators, have you read the package insert? Have you even read the package insert for the flu shot alone? It says that you will be shedding on people for up to at least 2 weeks. Therefore, when you're around people after taking the flu shot, not only are you going to become ill because you just poisoned yourself, but you're going to make those around you ill. And you're going to poison them via electromagnetism because that's how it works. These people don't even read the inserts. But here's what her lawsuit says, certainly in the introduction portion, which I will read here. Her pretrial hearing is set for the first week of July. And her lawyer sent this again to Select Medical Corporation and others. There's a case number here, the whole thing, on June 6th of this year. It says the following. I hope this correspondence finds you well. Per our emails, as well as the notice of hearing order, please allow this correspondence to serve as a formal settlement demand to resolve this matter. And as you would expect, Kim Carter is asking for monetary compensation. Now, here are the particular breakdowns just to get that out of the way very quickly. There's whistleblower retaliation, religious discrimination, which is Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, emotional distress and mental harm, reputational and professional damage, punitive damages. And then that's it. And she's talking, and they are talking, her lawyer is talking of upwards of $38.57 million in compensation. Here's what the introduction says. Ms. Carter states that this settlement demand is based upon the following. In 2023, Ms. Carter brought forth federal safety data, including FDA and CDC safety signals related to the administration of the seasonal influenza vaccine in individuals who previously received the COVID-19 vaccine. Said concerns were not hypothetical, but were rather based upon data which indicated adverse outcomes and signal warnings that were being actively monitored by both federal agencies. Ms. Carter's concerns were rooted in clinical responsibility as well as deeply held relations and moral convictions surrounding medical freedom and bodily autonomy. The issue was not merely the COVID-19 vaccine itself, but the documented risk of administering flu vaccinations after and or alongside COVID-19 vaccination, which was a combination which specifically triggered federal safety alerts. Rather than engage in good faith and or investigate those concerns, Select Medical Corporation and others used Ms. Carter's disclosures and beliefs to discredit, isolate, and eventually terminate Ms. Carter's employment. Despite maintaining professional conduct and basing her actions on the federally recognized data, Ms. Carter was subjected to repeated and continued retaliation and discrimination. The EEOC received Ms. Carter's claims and issued a right to sue letter establishing the basis for this federal lawsuit. The foundation of Ms. Carter's case includes both whistleblower retaliation and religious discrimination under Title VII Civil Rights Act. Under the Title VII Civil Rights Act, Ms. Carter states that the emotional, spiritual, and professional harm to which Ms. Carter has endured as a result of Select Medical Corporation and others' actions cannot be overstated. Ms. Carter has experienced target gaslighting by executive leadership, including CEO Dean Blevins, HR Director Lauren Alexander, and CNO Jen Dreyer, all of which is documented through audio evidence. Ms. Carter's religious convictions were mocked, dismissed, and beyond rational and or justification for Ms. Carter's removal/termination. Ms. Carter's respected clinical leadership role and title were blatantly removed, stripped away, erased, cleared, and eliminated, not because of any clinical failure on behalf of Ms. Carter, but rather because Ms. Carter spoke truths backed by federal data and personal faith, to which Select Medical Corporation and others dismissed. The result of Ms. Carter's termination has led Ms. Carter to suffer severe psychological trauma, career destabilization, reputational damage, and long-term economic impact. Not only were the retaliatory actions, behavior, and conduct taken against Ms. Carter by Select Medical Corporation and others unethical, they also violated federal law. Unquote. Again, whistleblower retaliation, religious discrimination, emotional distress and mental harm, reputational and professional damage, punitive damages, and economic loss. And then it goes through all of those specific laws that were violated, and then the specifics within the conversations that took place that highlight each one. Again, it's a well-done letter. There's no doubt about that. And if you listen again to this 30-minute audio, which, again, I will play in the future, and we're going to have Kim back on. There's no doubt about that either, but we might play it then. But either way, this is moving forward, and this is a good thing, and she deserves every red cent, just like everybody does. Every nurse, every teacher, everybody who left and sued, they should be entitled to money and compensation. They did not want to abuse themselves. They did not want to abuse other people. And when they brought facts to the table for the people who are supposed to be factual, you're butting heads up against the brainwashed. And I'm telling you, in that conversation, and even the one that, again, is on the old Substack article from a couple of years ago, you can flat out hear the brainwashing among those administrators. It's just this monotone, just very, well, that's unfortunate that you think that way, and I'm sorry you believe that, and, that's just your belief, and you're in a position of influence, and you can't tell everybody that, and you can't scare people, and you can't do this. She's not scaring anybody, she's just telling the truth. But when the entire medical system ignores that, you don't have a medical system, you have tyranny. And people get killed when that takes place. So again, I applaud anybody who's left any business or any line of work because they refuse to comply, because they refuse to kill themselves or they refuse to kill somebody else. Good for you. Again, I'm sorry for the people who fell for it. I really am. A lot of them are good people, innocent people, and then plenty of them still believe to this day that there's nothing wrong with them, even though they're growing a third eyeball, a third arm. They've lost their minds, rashes all over their body, and 1,000 other things because they took 1 or 8 shots. You can't necessarily help those people if they don't want to wake up. But they don't live in reality either, many of them. So I don't know what else to say, but that's just the way that it is. And we have rights, and we don't have to violate them. And we don't have to break other individuals' rights either. And we don't have to tell them that they don't have rights and gaslight those individuals into just following along with what someone else says. Think for yourself and you'll be better off. Lead people off a cliff or follow someone off a cliff, well, that end is rather predictable. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening as always. I'll catch you on Wednesday. Peace. Thank you for listening to American Education FM. Make sure and check out AmericanEducationFM.com for more information. Take care and God bless.